freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your mega preview pod for this week's John Deere Classic. It's storylines, it's best bets, it's the one and done. Joining me to break it all down, Patrick McDonald is here. Patrick.
Yo. Happy Tuesday. Pretty quiet week. I don't mind it.
Thank you. Happy Tuesday. Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Greg.
Phenomenal intro, Patrick. As you never disappoint.
No.
Excited to be here. Well, I mean, this is a great week of the year. We got Independence Day coming up. We got the John Deere Classic going on. The gang's all here to talk about it. I'm fired up.
Kyle Porter rounds out our foursome for the day. KP, good to see you.
Good to see you. I was told we were going to talk through my TrackMan numbers today, Greg.
Oh,
Yeah. I need help. Rick, you weren't here last week. We got steep on Greg's TrackMan numbers, and so we're just going to go through all the numbies for everybody, I think.
Okay, we can go through all the numbies because that would be fun. And it would be fun because this is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook, in fact, where you can make every moment more. Well, KP, what did you drop in the chat? Those were your TrackMan numbers, right?
Yeah. Yes, they were.
Okay.
They
were big boy numbers.
I wanted to talk through them. I need help.
Wow. Don't we all? What's the problem? Because the ball speed is
ball speed's fine.
You got it, man.
The ball.
I just got this.
Big
I
stuff.
got this big, like, think Wyndham Clark's spinny right miss, Greg.
Yeah. So club speed 121, ball speed 179.
That's like tour average, by the way.
Honking. That's
Honking.
above tour average. Both of those above tour average.
What was ball speed?
1.48. Oh, here we go. Josh hasn't pulled up. Spin rate 3,200, little high.
Yeah.
Spin axis 7.8. So I don't typically use TrackMan. So spin axis is it's the same concept, slightly different number, but my guess is that's not a very straight shot.
No.
That's curving quite a bit to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm very, very steep on it.
Yeah. 4 point. So this is how you kind of connect all these. You're hitting down. This is a driver. I hope so.
I hope it's a driver.
All right.
It's actually my 8-iron.
Okay. All right. You got to get into the long drive contest. Attack angle 4 down. That's kind of what you're looking for with like a 5-iron.
Yeah.
Some would say 7-iron. I'm okay with a little steeper, but 4 down's quite a bit.
Yeah.
So you got 4 down, launch angle at 4, extremely low, and spin rate at 3,200. They probably helped you out with that. I wouldn't be surprised if you had some higher spin numbers.
They did. They got me down.
The next slide.
Yeah, the next one is what they got me down to, which was helpful, and added a little steep, or a little what's the word I'm looking for? Angle.
Launch angle
on the face.
Yeah, you doubled it, right? You went from 4 to 8.
Yeah.
Which so if you're optimal, like Rory will launch it at like 17 degrees.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you do that.
Well, you have to, the angle of the club has to be coming up a lot more. So instead of like 4.8 down, you would swing 4.8 up.
So he hits it on the way up.
On the way up, like a home run hitter.
Yeah, and I'm like hammering a nail into the ground. Whatever I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. You're driving it down into the ground too much. Now, the amazing thing about a club fitting is it can do a lot of help. So 8-degree launch angle is still lower, no doubt lower than your fitter wanted. but
Mhm.
he's not there to change your swing.
Yeah, right.
Did
Wish
serious.
he would have been.
Yeah, he did serious that launch angle, and to cut the spin rate down that much, that's significant. So those things are really good. Club, you got to start there.
Yeah.
But the problem is clear that this is too much down, and
Yeah.
it's probably going too much to the left. A little bit.
Yes.
So should he just be doing drills that make him swing up and into out? Like what's his deal here? Can he move the ball up in his stance? Like what does he have to physically work on here?
Yeah, it's a great question. Probably
Greg doesn't have time for all the things.
Talk about this.
Just feel like you're hitting up on it.
Swing out to right field.
Tee it higher.
Well, a lot of Greg, a lot of my divot patterns are almost going like they're good, but they're like pointed, like the club face is just going left.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. The divot
Okay.
should go left. Even for a draw player, the divot should go left because it happens
Interesting.
after the ball.
Okay.
So you, in theory, struck the ball, and then the club continues around in its circle. And so for a right-handed player, it will go to the left.
Okay.
The path is before the club gets to the ball. So what you need to do is move the ball surprisingly back in your stance.
Yeah.
And the reason is it will help you close your shoulders. And then you can tilt your spine away from the target. So your shoulders are angled up a little bit more, which will help you swing up on the ball.
Yeah.
So what often happens with a driver is the ball position gets forward, the shoulders get a little open. And when they start getting open or pointed to the left, they get level.
Yeah. Or down.
And then the angle of attack starts going too steep and the club path goes too much to the left. So if you move the ball back in your stance, your right shoulder will get farther away from the ball or the strike line. And then it can go a little lower and you can start to tilt your shoulders up. And then all of a sudden it should neutralize that club path a little bit.
Yeah, it's good. And it squares with something that I was playing with somebody who's very good at golf and knows what they're talking about the other day. And he was saying, hey, you need to move I had the ball like off my front foot on driver. And he's like, you need to move it back to like your left armpit. He's like, just move it back some. And he's like, your misses will not be as extreme. And I think that's sort of what you're getting at. It's
exactly what I'm getting at. And I know that guy knows what he's talking about because see, you're referring to ball position where it is in your feet. He's referring to ball position where it is in your upper body.
Yep.
And ball position is always an upper body thing.
Because your feet change, but your upper body can't.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the way your arms respond to that ball position all has to do with where your shoulders are pointed.
Yeah.
So if you put the ball in line with your front foot, but rotate your shoulders so the ball points directly at your spine, you haven't created a forward ball position. You've created a middle ball position.
Yeah.
And it often, Rick, it could probably help you as well with your shot pattern.
What a drive-by that was.
Dragging Rick into
Get some, Rick. Get some.
Drive-by. I'm just saying, I'm watching your facial expressions here, and I'm saying.
I appreciate it. I'm learning a lot right now.
It's great, right?
Yeah.
Patrick, bring your numbies next week. We can just get steep on them too. No pun intended.
We'll rip them apart.
I will say I've got your comps. So ball speed, Sam Burns.
Oh, okay.
Top 35 on the PGA Tour, mind you.
Okay.
Swing speed, your boy, fan favorite Cameron Young, he's 121.95. You would check in right behind Radford legend Callum Tarren inside the top 20.
Callum Tarren, who can say?
There's some
top 20 club
names.
at speed.
Top 20.
Yeah,
Patrick Fishburne, Rico Hoey,
they also know where it's going, so that's problematic.
Those numbers could be part of the Open Championship final qualifying, though I know they weren't. But 16 players punched their ticket to the Open Championship today. If you're listening live, it is Tuesday. 4 from each of the 4 qualifying positions. Patrick, I'll just hit you with a couple of the notables here. Justin Rose in. Abraham Ancer, after a 3-for-2 playoff, in. Those are probably the 2 biggest names. You throw in Matthew Southgate, Sam Horsfield, and then probably some names that the casual viewing public or even myself are not as familiar with.
My long lost cousin, Jack McDonald, as well, is getting in the mix. So we'll have a rooting interest here. I think Abe Ancer, Honest Abe, made a triple kind of late in his second round as well. So cool to see him get through. Justin Rose, obviously the big one. I know Rosie, he's done some cringy things in his day. You think about the MasterCard commercials, you think all that. But honestly, over the last couple years, my respect for him has gone through the roof. Just you look at who's gone to live and you stack those guys up and you're like, oh, Justin Rose should be over there with all those guys. But to kind of dig it in the dirt, win on the PGA Tour last year, be a member of the European Ryder Cup team, and then go through qualifying when you've won a major, you're an Olympic gold medalist, all these wins across the world. Kudos to him. I think it's baller.
Yes, it is. Here's the quote from Abraham Ancer. He said, I managed to make it really tough on myself, but I bounced back and I played a good hole here in the playoff to get through. That was referring to that big number that he made. He would go on to say, Greg, it feels amazing. I'm extremely happy. That did knock out Anirban Lahiri, also a live golfer from that playoff. So Ancer and Charlie Lind take those 2 spots.
Yeah. Look, for Abraham Ancer and many of the players that went to live without a major championship, their access to these events is very limited. Whether you like it or not, that's the way that it is. And so you're cut down to these couple of Open championships. And once you go through qualifying like this and get yourself in, you have an opportunity at that point to get into some of the other ones, right? A really nice finish here at the Open can get you into the other majors as well. So it's a big deal for a guy that we haven't really seen or heard a lot from since he made the move over to live.
KP, this is so interesting, right? We have a sport where anybody could literally play well enough and qualify for 2 of the 4 biggest championships, the US Open and the Open Championship. In that same sport, often free invitations are handed out based on who pays the most money to give them. It's like the opposite ends of the spectrum, Open qualifying and sponsors invites.
Yeah, it really is. And I think, I was watching from afar. I was kind of following the Opens or the RNA. I don't know what, however you want to say it, but they were running a live blog and they were posting photos and quotes and all this different stuff. And these guys it's 9:30 at night over there. They're chasing the sun and trying to get in the Open. And it's a very, it's a grind, right? It's a meat grinder, and it's tough to like go through those qualifiers, but it's a little bit romantic too. I mean, we all got a press release from the RNA just with the quotes from some of these guys. We'll get to Justin Rose's because I thought it was amazing in a minute, but some of these other guys I'd never heard of. Sam Hutsby, I'm a bit lost for words at the moment. I missed out by a shot twice. It has always been a childhood dream to play in a major. Angel Hidalgo, who holed out on the 72nd hole for eagle to get in. I'm still shaking. All this year, we've not really had luck, so I finally take the place in the Open. If I finally take the place in the Open, it would be a really good gift. I just jumped and cried with my caddy. Liam Nolan, it's going to be crazy. I feel like I've had a very good amateur career, but this is a nice one to tick off playing in my first major. It's hard to process the fact that I'm going to the Open. So just all these really cool quotes from guys that, they're not Justin Thomas and Colin Morikawa and Scotty Scheffler. Like, they're grinders, and a lot of them are amateurs. Justin Rose's quote, I think we have it. I think producer Josh has it, but he said, the Open has always been a bit of a fairy tale and a love story for me since I was 14. Sometimes you take it for granted. You're exempt, you turn up and play for many years, but as you get older, things get a little harder. So in some ways, it's good to have to qualify because it makes you appreciate the Open a little more and how special it is. And, I thought it was like, I don't want to miss out on giving Sergio credit too. Like Sergio qualified for the US Open, going through these qualifiers. He tried to get through on Open like today with the Open Championship. I think he missed out by 2 shots. So I think it's awesome. And I think it's why a lot of us are so romantic about golf is that theoretically anybody can play their way into the Open Championship.
That's what I love about the Francis We Met story and then the accompanying Disney movie that came out 100 years later. Yeah. Just, hey, get hot for a couple of days. See what happens. I love that. The story for Sergio is that he does fall short. His group was put on the clock. He was not happy about it. He would go on to say,
none of this is surprising.
Yeah, I could have wrote this story 10 years ago. He got into a little bit of an argument with one of the marshals. And then afterwards, Patrick, he said, because of that, I made a couple of bogeys that might cost me getting to Troon. Spoiler alert, it did cost him. He will not be at the Open Championship. Yeah,
I think Kyle and I were in agreement during the US Open that we wanted Sergio to really get in the mix over the weekend. He's one of those guys that he elevates major championships if he's in the mix, right? A lot of people aren't going to root for him, right? And that's more than half of it when it comes to sports. So bummer that he didn't get through with the slow play and yelling at marshals for not moving people in time, right? He was upset because the marshals took 10 to 15 minutes to move people because so many people were watching El Nino. He looked like a complete idiot out there with his Fireball gear. I mean, that is just atrocious attire. And that's not a hit on the Fireball fans out there, right? Because
of which you were probably one.
No, I'm not. I'm a Ripper guy. Everyone knows that,
okay.
Kyle.
Sorry.
But Sergio's just been a generational poor dresser when it comes to professional golf, even in his Adidas days. So that's not a hit on Fireball GC, but the red shoelaces with the black shoes, the red bag is insane to me. But I am. That all being said, I am bummed Sergio did not make it because he's awesome in major championships.
I am too. And it would have been his 100th. It would have been his 100th major championship, which would have been. I mean, that's I don't know how many guys have reached 100 total, but it can't
ask you that.
It can't be. I mean, Phil just got to 100. It can't be a ton. Well, I don't know. I say that.
I think Phil got to 100 major cuts.
Oh, was that it?
At the PGA last year, I think, something like that.
I have a list that I will not stand behind this list, but I have at least a list of names for major championship appearances.
This is all time.
Yes.
I have top 100 undergrad majors if you need that too.
Nicholas,
wait, how old is Sir? How does he already have 100? How old is he?
Sergio?
Yeah, 40.
But didn't he play in a major?
He was like 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The PGA in 99, he was like 18 years old.
So then 25 years from there times 4.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy to do it for. You got to play in every. I mean, he didn't. I'm looking at his Wikipedia page now. He didn't miss a major from 99 Open to 2020 Masters.
99 to 20. Yeah. That's how you get to 100.
That's
Holy
just
cow.
bonkers.
All right.
The guard, by the way, is very close to like McDonald's colors. I think he could embrace the yellow a little more, make it straight up Ronald McDonald.
Golden Arches. Nicholas, 164 majors, according to Nicholas. Gary Player, 150. Tom Watson, 145. Arnold Palmer, 142. Raymond Floyd, Sam Snead, Ben Crenshaw, 127, 118, 117. Mickelson, I have 117. So what was that? Maybe it was his 100th cut that he made.
I think that's right, because it was at the Masters a year ago or 2 years ago, Patrick.
Something like that. Yeah.
Sarazen, Longer, Marco Mira, Tom Kite, Ernie Els, Fred Couples, Davis Love III is at 101. Right on the number, Nick Faldo, Sandy Lyle. That's according to this site, the entirety of the list.
Tiger might not get there.
What's he at now? 80 something?
I think 80, maybe 90.
You got to do it. I mean, for Nicholas, you got to do it for 50 years.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
There's no fast tracking this. It's simple math. Okay. You got to do it for 50 years to get to 200 majors. Everyone.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. And you got to stay. I mean, I think the biggest thing is just staying healthy, right? Like, think about, Tiger's at 94.
Yeah.
Think about how many guys with just think about Bryson, for example. It's going to be really hard for Bryson to stay healthy for 25 years. Like, it just is. I mean, we've already seen, I think in the modern game, it's this idea of you burn hotter, but you go out faster. Right. And I don't know that we're seeing the full effect of that yet, but I think 100, if you play 100 majors, that's just an extraordinary career, because you've been able, I think it's actually a really cool marker of a career, because you've been good enough to qualify for that long. Or if you're Sandy Lyle, you just won the right 2 events. And you didn't get hurt. Like Phil, I said this on Sunday, Phil's the only thing he's been better than Tiger at is staying healthy. And it gave him an opportunity to win a PGA at age 51 or 50 or whatever he was. I think that's a really meaningful thing. Rory will get there probably. He's at 60 something.
Yeah, he's got a lot more rips at it than most. Okay, we are going to turn our attention to the John Deere Classic. We will talk about that event and also reveal the best bets, the one and done selections. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
At CBS Sports Golazo Network, we're bringing you the game.
Madness of Messi arrives!
Breaking down the game.
This is unlike anything else in the world.
And changing the game.
Get it all for nil.
That means free.
Whoa.
And all day long!
24/7.
And we're back. The John Deere Classic is on. We are here. The last stop before we go to Scotland. We're going to have to start getting our body clocks all taken care of and accustomed to overseas. But we've got a little bit of time here. And Patrick, your namesake, Patrick Cantlay, withdrew on Monday. Cam Davis is out of this event. So you're looking at a top of a board that is Sepp Straka, your defending champion. Aaron Rye, who had a close call last week, and that pesky Jordan Spieth, who no one seems to know what he's going to do on a shot-by-shot basis.
First and foremost, thoughts and prayers going out to Patrick Cantlay. Said he injured himself during a training session. Hopefully he is A-OK following his mini resurgence there at the U.S. Open and Cromwell as well. Race to the FedEx Cup playoffs is heating up, right? And it's hard not to look at one name in particular when you're thinking about the postseason. It seems to be true that the spring break boys can not all play well at the exact same time. Last year was Justin Thomas, and this year it is Jordan Spieth, number 59 in the FedEx Cup heading into this week. Added this tournament because he obviously needs to find something, and 59 is just a very awkward spot to be, right? You're not really safe from top 70 if things don't fall your way. And you also need to get points to get inside the top 50 to make sure you're in the signature events, although we know he'll be in those. So, yeah, he's obviously the name to watch this week.
Yeah, the other guys are rooting for Spieth to be inside the top 50 for signature events, Greg, because if he's out, he's going to take one of those spots every event anyway.
Yeah, it's a fair point, because that's very likely. And I understand why you would want to do that. All of those sponsors want Jordan Spieth to be playing there, but we want him to be playing there for the right reasons. And I think for Jordan to get inside that top 50 this year would be a it would be a big deal because it's clear that he's struggling. His game is not anywhere near competitive enough for him to be a favorite at the Open, which he should be. But perhaps this week on a golf course he's won twice at, has 3 top 10s and just 4 starts. Perhaps this is a place where he can find a little bit of mojo, get people excited about his chances overseas.
Any idea, KP, what Jordan Spieth's best finish of the year is?
Well, I think he was at Kapalua, T3.
Oh, okay, yeah. Outside of that, I wasn't counting that. But yes, you're right.
that one doesn't count.
Like preseason.
Outside of that, he played very well at the beginning, probably right before, probably Phoenix or somewhere around there.
Yeah, Phoenix T6. That's his best finish. He only has 1 top 10 outside of that. It's the Texas Open. That's it. No full field top 5s, let alone wins. My goodness. But it just hasn't been good.
Well, I think this is interesting. There's a bunch of different things I guess we could talk about with Spieth. I think Patrick has, not to pin this on you, Patrick, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like he's hurt. You've talked about that, yeah?
I've heard, I mean, I don't think it's a secret. The wrist is a big problem. And I think it's, from what I've heard, it's much more of a problem than he's let on.
Yeah. I think the disappointing part from a PGA Tour standpoint, Rick, is there's not really consequences for the next month of golf for Spieth. Like, what are the consequences? That he misses out on the BMW? Like, there's no like, oh, well, Spieth might not make it next year, right?
Yeah, so I guess what you're saying is in other situations, and I'm just thinking this through, quote, missing the playoffs can kind of be a big deal. It can kind of be detrimental. A lot of team sports, you might rebuild. It's just like, okay, he's not going to be allowed to play an event at the end of August. And then in the second week of September, he can play whatever he wants again.
Yeah. Anywhere. I mean, he basically has a lifetime exemption on the PGA Tour.
Right.
And so it's like, well, then what is it a meritocracy or not? I mean, you've heard me say that a million times. So all that aside, I mean, I think the Open is so interesting. I've been doing some research on the Open Championship coming up, and he's been so good there, even when he was playing bad. Like, his worst finish since the start of 2015, when he almost won at St. Andrews, is like T30. He doesn't finish outside the top 30 at the Open. So I think that is kind of a litmus test for me with him. He's not good at golf right now, but if let's say he goes and misses the cut at the Open badly, then you're like, okay, this is 5 alarm, sound the. I mean, it's really, really bad.
And I kind of thought that at the Masters too, but yes, to continue to pile those up would be super, super concerning. I'm trying to think what else here, Patrick. We've got a couple of guys who are, getting themselves into shape for the first time this year. Sung Jae Im's playing better than we've seen this year. We're seeing like Sepp Straka continue from winning this event last year. He's basically hasn't slowed down. He's been great for the last calendar year. And I think that he's probably one of the more underrated golfers that we have on the PGA Tour. But you're right. There's just a lot of these guys jockeying for position. When you look down the leaderboard and look at their FedEx Cup standings, it's trying to make sure they get into that top 70 and then give themselves a chance to advance.
Yeah, Giuseppe Straka has been awesome. I don't think it'd be surprising if he threatens to go back-to-back. Sung Jae Im's interesting. Weird year. Missed all 3 major cuts so far, but the non-PGA or non-major starts since like the start of the spring, he's been great, right? Hasn't finished like outside the top 12, has the win at the highly decorated Woori Financial Championship on the Korean Tour as well. And I think he's looking to lock in that spot on the international team. I'm honestly interested to see what some of these the back end of the American President's Cup team is right for someone to come in and grab a spot and take it over this last month or two. And so,
okay, Patrick, I was thinking about this today. Who's your team right now?
Oh gosh. So the 6 who are in, whoever they may be.
Yeah, so here they are. So the six right now would be Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Wyndham Clark, Patrick Cantlay, Sahith Theegala. That's the 6 that are, if it ended right now, are in.
And I'm fine with those.
7.
Let's go forward with those being the 6 that are in. So Patrick says Akshay is 7.
Throw in young blood. Get the turnover going. He's been awesome. Get him the experience.
Unless Akshay does something horrific over the next month and he's not on the team, that's going to be a problem. Like he needs to be on the team.
Yeah, and it's the President's Cup. That's the perfect time to get these guys the experience, right?
Give me Big Tone.
Yes.
I don't love it.
I guess give me Max.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Keegan Bradley off this list.
Oh, he's not been good, dude.
Doesn't matter. Who okay. Do you want Keegan Bradley or Chris Kirk?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. Like that's why I was looking at this today and I was like, oh my gosh,
it's ripe for someone to.
It's kind of bleak.
And it's going to be criminal when Jordan Spieth, number
24
gets a selection on this
team.
Well,
that was a little bit my question to you guys. That's sort of why I brought this up. Somebody in the chat was saying this. Spieth can't be on the team, I don't think.
Not currently.
Can he?
Well, he could win the Open.
Yeah, well, sure. Yes. Yeah.
Right. But short of that, I mean, if you're what about JT? He's 14th.
JT's on my team.
I think he's probably on my team too.
Yeah.
I take all right, so I get 6. Finau, Homa, Akshay.
No Harmon?
No. Keegan.
He's been pretty good.
I don't care. Justin Thomas, Sam Burns. That's my team. We'll take that to Canada.
You're leaving top 10 player in the world, Russell Henley, off your team.
Yeah, the disrespect is unbelievable.
Top 10 player in the world isn't even in the top 10 of the President's Cup standings.
Well, it's rigged.
I think that's probably my team too, Rick. You could talk me into Harmon over Burns, but I'm the tiebreaker for me is Burns is 10 years younger.
Yeah, that's
right.
Fair.
Like I just always lean in that direction.
Yeah. Should we just be smashing internationals plus 250 right now?
I mean, maybe. If anyone has...
Bryson. I had Bryson on my team. Is he not allowed to play?
I don't think so.
PGA Tour
event. Yeah, they're not allowed to.
Okay. That's right, because they couldn't have Oosthuizen and
Cam Smith.
So no.
It'd be a great event.
Brooks, add Brooks, Bryson, add Cam Smith, and
Brooks would not be on my team.
Neiman. Nah, I don't need Brooks either.
I would definitely have Bryson. Bryson has to be on the Ryder Cup team next year if he's even.
He will be.
Yeah.
There are by the way, no Canadians in the top 6 on the international side.
I was going to say, those are all Americans. Greg's looking at the U.S. list going, there's not a single Canadian here. I think that's going to be interesting with captain's picks on that side. Yeah, 7, 8, 10, and 13 are the Canadians. So they would all potentially need captain's picks. Yikes.
Take them all. Go down to 18 too. Why stop there?
Why stop here? And let's just roll Greg right into our best bets, because this best bet segment is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can make every moment more. Here's how we do it. We get $100. We take it over to FanDuel Sportsbook. We put 50 on a matchup, 30 on a finishing position, 10 each on 2 separate outrights. We put them in a grid, and Josh displays it right now. Yes, Greg. Oh, After all that, you were just standing for the Canadians, and now you're playing against one.
Yes, going against one with somebody who's in the top 6. Jason Day is 3rd in the President's Cup standings.
Wow.
Perhaps that's surprising. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't love this because Jason Day has not been hitting the ball very well at all. At all. But his finishes are still pretty respectable, pretty reliable. I think we can get a good finish out of him. And the reason I went with him over Svensson is Svensson is really struggling on the greens. He just seems to have this putting issue that's been going on all year. His ball striking's been great. There has been no spike, no sign of life on the greens. I think in an event like this, while ball striking's always important, you got to make putts out here. I think Jason Day has a little more upside, and I think he beats Adam Svensson.
Jason Day minus 115 over Adam Svensson. Patrick, you're rolling with the hot hand.
Yes, I was on HQ today, and Greg called Aaron Rye the class of this field. That's all I needed to hear from our faithful leader, the man wearing the yellow jersey. And so we're going with the Englishman minus 130 over the man who formerly was the class of the field a decade ago in Jordan Spieth. Sad times for Spieth. The PGA Tour playing all the hits on the social with all the throwback stuff. It's just sad. Play Linger by Cranberries over those clips. So Rye minus 130 over Spieth.
What's even more sad is that Kyle, the man who owns more real estate on Spieth Island than anybody that I know, also took the same thing, KP.
Yeah, people are fleeing. I actually own the entire island at this point. There's nobody here. Supplies are meager. I've got
It's a fire fest situation.
It's total fire fest. There's cheese on my bread and no tents anywhere to be found. This is a little bit of a life hedge, Rick, because if Spieth plays well and beats Aaron Rye, then I'm excited for the Open. So either way, I win.
until Spieth
both missed the cut,
or 49th and 50th or something, and we can't get excited about either one of them. I went Andrew Novak over Brendan Todd. Greg and I talked about this on Monday. I just think Novak is starting to find his footing just a little bit more. I'm gonna bounce right back to you here, Greg. It's a finishing position. It's anyone that you want. Top 10, top 20, top 30, top 40. You found yourself a top 20.
Yeah, give me Patton Kizzire, top 20 at plus 330. I like the number on that. He has a great record here. So 2023 missed the cut. 2022 T16, 2021 T11, 2018 T30, 2017 top 25. So 2 top 16 finishes here. And I think his form is a lot better than it was last year. He's coming in, he has 5 of 6 top 28 finishes since missing 6 cuts in a row earlier in the year. T10 in Myrtle Beach, T20 last week. Very solid play overall. I like Patton Kizzire in the top 20.
Yeah, 3.3 to 1. That's plus 330. KP, what did you find for this week?
Yeah, I've got Mav McNeely top 20. He's been playing good golf, and this is a course that he's historically played pretty well. I was surprised to see him this short, but I still like it at plus 140.
I opted for plus 160, but on a top 40 for Harry Higgs. The guy's got
I like that.
2 wins in his last 5 starts.
I like that a lot.
He's vibing. It's a weak field. First 4 pages of the leaderboard for the big rig. I'll take it. Patrick, round us out with your finishing position, please.
I went with, and bear with me here, Rio Hisat Sune, top 20, plus 280. Rio-san, my Japanese brother. He kind of does everything pretty good. T35 in Canada, T31 in Detroit last week. Didn't putt well either of those weeks, but ball striking tee to green was awesome. Young guy, only 21. I think a lot of upside. So give me the top 20 on him.
All right. That is Harry Higgs, top 40. Maverick McNeely, top 20. Rio, I've been calling him Hisatsune, which is...
I think it's Hisatsune.
I don't think either of y'all have any idea.
I definitely don't think we have any idea. And then Patton Kizzire is top 20 for plus 330. Two separate outrights. Let's see what we've got here. We've got a lot of different names. Greg, let's go to you first, please.
Okay. I will go to the class of the field and Aaron Rai at 20-1. I love what he's done with his ball striking all season. And I think the move to John Graham for the putting, working on his green reading, is extremely important. And this is the kind of spark that can work for him in a birdie fest. So I think this golf course all of a sudden plays right into his hands. And I also went with Maverick McNeely. Other than Rye, I didn't have a real strong feeling, and I wasn't quite ready to go to Sepp for back-to-back, but Matt McNeely has been playing better. His iron play is improving. He's a great putter, which I think goes a long way out here. Seems to be driving it well as well. So I think there's a good chance McNeely gets himself in the mix.
KP, you were on a similar wavelength because you also have Aaron Rye, and you were circling the same names as Greg was. What did you settle on here?
Yeah, I've got Rye. I just promised I think I said this last week. I promised myself that I would start taking guys that were sort of close to being in contention the week before, but didn't have the emotional toll that actually being in contention takes out of you. Rye was closer, I guess, to contention than Akshay was at the Travelers, but same sort of concept here. 20-1, Sepp to repeat at 16-1. He's been playing just awesome golf for, like you said, the last year since he won here. So I like both those guys. They're at the top end in terms of favorites, but I still like both of them to play very well.
Yeah, we've got 16-1, we've got 20-1, we've got 28-1. I throw out a 22-1 in Davis Thompson, who's playing some of the best golf of the calendar year, and the results are starting to certainly come along. And then Patrick, our last three selections are fairly long. I went with Joel Damon at 80-1. This is a golf course where the fairways are wide, but if you miss them, you're in trouble. And Damon finds a lot of fairways. He's playing a lot better. The ball striking has come back. He's 80-1. You have two golfers who are 50-1 or longer. What'd you find?
I went with the Irishman, Seamus Power, 50-1. I'll be honest with you guys. I had no idea this guy was in the signature events in 2024. He's been in all of them. Finished top 20 at the Travelers Championship, gained strokes throughout the bag, has 4 top 25 finishes here and 5 starts. Boom, sign me up. And then Andrew Novak, not BJ Novak of The Office, 90-1.
Not Novak Djokovic of Wimbledon.
Not Novak Djokovic either. He kind of comes and goes in waves. Beginning of the year was great, had 3 top 10s at one point. Then he went on a lull, and I think he's back on the up and up. Top 20 in Canada and last week as well. So iron play looks to be coming back. So give me him at 90.
90-1, the longest shot that we have on the board. Now, if you've not seen this before, we get an extra 50 and we get full run of FanDuel Sportsbook. Anything we can find to put our final best bet on. I'm going to get out of the way here. I went Nico Echeverria, top South African. No, top South American, plus 330. The other three in that group, Johnny Vegas, Alejandro Tosti, Camilo Villegas. Villegas hasn't found a weekend in a long time. Toasty withdrew last week. I don't know if he's banged up, just not playing well. And then I'll take Nico against Johnny Vegas at plus 330. Greg, a guy we talked about on Monday, a guy that can get scorching hot. What'd you pick?
David Skins, top 30 at plus 260. It feels like there's just not quite enough respect for what he's done lately. And I'm hoping to buy in on that. He's got 4 top 30 finishes which are really top 25, which are really top 21 finishes in his last 6 events. 3 out of the last 4. He finished T17 last week. He can get scorching hot with his iron play. I think he's longer than you'd expect. If you're just looking at him, looking at the gray hair, you'd think he may be a short hitter. That's not the case. He can move it out there. And he's been good and shown the ability to spike all the way out throughout the bag. So at plus 260, top 30 for David Skins, I think it's a great value.
Patrick, who has been the best in our best bets segment, continues his rogueness. What have you gone with this week?
Just completely lost without Scotty Scheffler playing golf. I need him to get off the couch. I need him to stop changing diapers. Just sign up for the Scottish Open next week, Scotty. Come on. Good lead in for the Open. Get a little links golf under the belt. I am going with Denny McCarthy to win at 22-1, looking to harpoon a whale here. Get us close to the finish line, get us in the black securely. It's a big week for us. Could get back in the red if it doesn't work out for us. So Denny, he's got to win eventually. So why not this week?
He's got to win eventually. Sure. Don't they all? And then KP, to add just more sadness to the Jordan Spieth situation, you've doubled down on Aaron Rai over Jordan Spieth.
I have. It's very short, but I feel very confident about it too. Spieth, producer Josh showed him earlier. His finishes stink. Like they're bad.
I think the worst part is that places that he's normally great, he's been bad, and I think that is generally a horrible sign.
Well, and it's also, I think what's interesting is he might pop up and be like T3 on Thursday afternoon. People are like, oh, this is it. But inevitably, by Saturday or Sunday, he's dropped all the way to T51. And you're like, well, another week, same story.
Another week, same story, where we went over to FanDuel Sportsbook because this best bet segment was brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. There is just one final thing to do. It's the one and done. There have been some updates. There have been some implications. We are going to reveal those and the picks after a quick word from our partners.
At CBS Sports Golazo Network, we're bringing you the game.
Madness of Messi arrives!
Breaking down the game.
This is unlike anything else in the world.
And changing the game.
Get it all for nil.
That means free.
Wow.
And all day long!
24/7.
And we're back. The one and done. Two notable things happened last week. Firstly, on a selfish note, I got a hair of breathing room and I surpassed Josh for fourth. So now Josh, Kyle, and I are battling it out in the basement, but the order is favorable to me this week. But the bigger news is that Greg DuCharme has
The one?
no, whoa. Not that big.
Okay.
Has accumulated a cool $18.4 million this season. And out of the 1,000, let's call it 1,000. I don't know what the official-
Thousands.
is it thousands?
It is now.
Okay, we'll just go with somewhere between one and many thousands.
Josh says 1,000.
Okay, I think it was closer to 1,000 as well. Greg enters this week in 5th place, the highest any of us have been at any point this year. Greg, you are the man.
Take a bow. That's why I got the yellow jersey on, because I'm in 5th place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Getting up here in the mix, duking it out with all these sharks we got in our league, taking all our advice and using it against us to bury us in this pool. Open a show out for the boys here. It's been fun so far.
You can not take the lead this week. You are 1.9 million behind. But here's the sneaky part: you're 300,000 out of second.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, you could. There's still a lot of money to
Come on, Greg.
Come
We're,
on,
we're still worth listening to at this point.
things are still happening. Things are happening. All right. Let us reveal and discuss the selections, please, Josh, for this week. No.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, Greg.
Don't be sorry. Look, this has worked you have just now tagged on. Hopefully you don't weigh us down, but Kyle and I have finished second or better every single time we've picked the same player.
Okay, that's good news. Greg, Kyle, and I are the same player. Kyle, say what you're about to say and tell everybody who we have.
Well, I also have to confess that when I got into the sheet and I didn't know who I was going to take, and I was scrolling down to put my bets in, and I saw that Greg had taken Aaron Rye, and I was like, well, might as well. So I don't think that's cheating, but I wanted to throw that out there.
So you're trying to draft off the DuCharme train.
The yellow jersey. I think he should be drafting off me if we're actually doing the Tour de France. But
I would be the Lance Armstrong. You would be the George
Hincapie.
George Michaels.
Handicap.
One of those is the correct answer. And that's right. And then George would nicely, as they get out of the Alps, scoot to the side, and Lance would say, "So long, buddy boy. I'll see you on the podium." I think it's how it went. Kyle, Greg, and I have Aaron Rye. Greg, you were saying this has worked. I'm ready to be a part of this now.
Yes. Welcome. Come on in. The water's warm. I think there's something real going on with Aaron Rye. I mean, he's been extremely consistent all year long. He's extremely accurate. He fits the mold of all of these winners, with the exception of, in general, they're better putters. There are exceptions like Lucas Glover, who's won here without being a phenomenal putter. But I think Aaron Rye's putting has significantly improved since going to John Graham very, very recently. But a little work on green reading. It seemed to work last week. I mean, why not have at it again this week on some of the easiest greens to putt on the PGA Tour?
Right.
Casually dropping Aaron Rye's putting coach is why people follow this show.
We are
there's a reason why his putting's improved. You know, it's not just like a random spike. He gets a new putting coach, and now we get results. So I think it's significant.
We're donning our USPS jerseys. We'll see you at the finish line. Josh and Mark have gone with the same golfer. That golfer is the defending champion, Sepp Straka, and Patrick will be by himself as the lone wolf in second place with who, Patrick?
I went with Denny Boy. I was kicking myself over the weekend for trying to get too cute with Alex Noren when I had Minwoo and Akshay in the bank. Like, wasn't sure what I was doing. So I need a bit of a slump buster here after a couple bad weeks. So I'm going with Denny. Everyone's focused on Greg. He's leading the pack. We're coming down the home stretch, but this is going to be like the 2023 Kentucky Derby. I'm going to squeeze in there and then beat him to the finish line.
That's a good strategy. Let's see if he can pull it off. Who won that Derby, by the way, Patrick?
Mage.
Who?
I have no idea if he's right or not. He said it so confident.
It sounded like you just made a noise. I don't think that was a real name.
I think so. Mage.
Mage?
Oh, can I get a spelling?
Can we get a confirmation? I'll look it up. 2020 Kentucky Derby.
Mage. Just keep Mage?
Mage. A chestnut colt bred in Kentucky.
Shocker.
His sire was Good Magic, the U.S. champion 2-year-old in 2017. Duh. And his Dame,
D-A-M?
Dame Dalla.
Puka is the daughter of Big Brown. So this horse comes from great lineage.
Dude, horse breeding sounds insane.
Oh, the stud feed on Mage. I mean, he's living the life right now.
Yes.
I finally got him. I broke Rick.
This is like when we go live on HQ and we're on site and you ask him something, he's like, yeah. That's right. That
is so funny. So just to recap, Greg, 18.4 million. Aaron Rye. Patrick at 13.0 has Denny McCarthy. Mark at 9.6 has Sepp Straka. That's hard to say. Rick at 8.8 has Aaron Rye. Josh at 8.5 has Sepp Straka. Kyle at 8.3 has Aaron Rye. We all chased down DeFoy Pro, 20.3 million. Golf Doc, 18.747. Sean has 18.743. JT 158, that's 18.6, and Greg DuCharme rounds out the top 5 of the big one and done.
Whew.
We just need Mark to finish last here.
What would you rather have?
Possible.
Greg win the whole thing, 1 out of 1,000, or Mark finish 6th of 6?
Well, I know which one would be funnier, but I'd rather have Greg win the whole thing. That would actually be very cool.
Yeah, we need that type of streak cred too, I think.
Yeah,
I just got to know who this DeFoy Pro is.
He's a pro.
he's a
I
professional.
mean, clearly. He's at 20 million.
Can we look at who his can you pull up his picks?
Probably.
He must have had Cam Davis
Cheated.
last week.
Oh.
All right. He had Akshay last week.
Oh, okay.
So here's the big money stuff.
Hashtag good pick.
Here are the wins. Here are the wins. Bryson at the US Open, that was 4.3 million. Back to back, Xander and Rory, Wells Fargo PGA, that was a total
Sick.
of
Wow.
7 million right there. He got Scotty at the Players, that was 4.5 million. Those are the wins. 4 wins, but probably like the 4 biggest wins you could get.
I mean, he only has 9 top 10s. It's not crazy, but they've been the wins have yeah, you're right, Rick. They've been monsters.
They're yes, he is. If you're only going to have 4 wins, and I say only, I can't imagine. I'm sure I've got like 1 win, but these are the 4 to have because the rest of it's good, not great. It's a couple of really good finishes, but at events that don't pay well. Shane Lowry at Cognizant 4th, that was 300,000. Even Akshay last week, a runner-up finish. That was a 4-way tie, 600,000. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, I mean, he got 20,000 out of Patrick Cantlay. He got 57,000 out of John Rahm.
I mean, he's like 20 or he's like 15th in score to par. So that's like aggregate score basically. And he's only 15th because he's had some missed cuts. He's had some guys finish like near the bottom of field. So it's really been like hot and cold, which is to his credit or her credit, the name of the game.
Hot the right weeks.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Anything else, gents?
Happy 4th.
Yeah.
Happy 4th. We on Friday are doing a network show, a live cut sweat that will be held at exactly 2 p.m. Eastern time. Don't be late because they take live television very seriously. So 2 p.m. Eastern time, Friday will be the live show. Happy 4th. Don't everybody come back with all your fingers, please. Okay. I'm always nervous about that. Just come back with all your fingers. Enjoy your burgers and your hot dogs and all that stuff. Just
do the statistic. Actually, I'm just going to read it. I've got it right here.
Okay.
Follow the Rick Run Good newsletter.
Oh, I didn't know
what you did. You would hear this insane sentence that I'm going to read out loud that says, if Esper, this isn't a professional eater, is Jason Day, then Webb, not Webb Simpson, but another professional eater, is Ludwig Aberg. This guy has set 6 world records since March of this year alone. They run the gamut, 13.5 pounds of fudge to 224 chicken wings. That sounds insane. He has a complete game, no flaws. He has 9 tour wins in the last 12 months. The sky is the limit. Go follow the Rick Run Good newsletter. It's amazing. You can't get that anywhere else. That's incredible.
12.5 pounds of fudge.
It's nuts.
Oh my gosh!
I got stuck down a rabbit hole of well, first of all, Kyle knows this. I watch like the competitive eating stuff on YouTube like all the time. I love it. but there's actually a major league eating, and these guys are insane. So there's no Joey Chestnut this year, which just the field is wide open.
What happened? Did he get
sold his soul to fake meat?
He signed a deal with Impossible Meats, and because Nathan's Hot Dog is the sponsor of the hot dog eating contest, they are not allowing him to compete.
Okay, that's a normal sport moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems like
it's kind of what happened with Kobayashi.
Yes, this is not the first multiple mustard belt champion to get.
That was like my childhood. Kobayashi and Chestnut going toe to toe.
Kobayashi was sick.
he
yeah.
was.
Do you know that I think it's this fall, Netflix is doing a Kobayashi versus Joey Chestnut hot dog eating contest.
We need
They're
to
getting
get
into live
credentialed.
sports, Rick.
I told you, man, they're disrupting.
We need to get credentialed.
So
What's the golf equivalent of signing with what's it called? Beyond Meat?
it was either Beyond or Impossible, but yeah.
Okay. What's the golf equivalent of, like, you're playing one of those wedges with the square grooves, so you can't play in like the Open or something?
I think to me it would be like if you went to Live and Live wouldn't let you play in the Masters, rather than like the Masters not inviting you.
Yeah, that's good. Or if like it would almost be like when Bubba went to Volvic, and Volvic was like a banned, like their ball, like you couldn't, like they weren't allowed, that ball wasn't allowed in the Masters.
So you can't play.
So you can't.
Sorry. And Volvic would say like, well, you can't go play a Titleist or a Callaway.
Right. You're just in a pickle, sticky pickle.
Yeah. Sticky pickle, baby.
So now the field's wide open. So Jeff Esper is the favorite. He's minus 120, but James Webb plus 200.
It's the Ludwig.
Yes. He has this year alone 6 world records. Glazed donuts. He ate 70 glazed donuts in 8 minutes. Texas
Greg's face.
Texas sausage.
Just unfathomable.
He ate 50, 51, 2.5 ounce Texas sausages in 10 minutes. He ate 350 of Jack's donuts in 8 minutes. He ate 338 pistachios in 8 minutes. He ate 224 chicken wings in 10 minutes and 13.5 pounds of chocolate fudge in 8 minutes. Those are all world records, all since March. He's on the scene and he's a problem.
This guy's like jacked too.
Hold on. What's his first name?
James.
Which one of those would be the worst to you guys?
The donuts, I think a lot of air in those. You smash them.
The fudge seems the worst.
The Texas sausages sound tough.
Fudge.
So the pistachios they must be pre-cracked, because that would take a long time to crack 338 pistachios.
Definitely pre-cracked.
Get stuck on one.
This guy really is. He's ripped.
Yeah, he's ripped. Yeah, and I think he's only done the hot dog contest once, and he ate 41.5. And the Nathan's hot dog contest is like Augusta National. Experience matters. Okay, you get the first one under your belt. You start to learn the nuances. You get to feel the heat of the moment. You know places you've only ever seen on television before at Coney Island.
Yeah,
you're living it for the first time. You're walking in the same spots that Kobayashi has, and that Eater X has, and that Joey Chestnut has, and
you trip.
Joe's comment is incredible. If you know,
Rick, we should get you in the contest. I know they occasionally let celeb appearances or amateurs compete.
No, we need Rick to call the contest.
That sounds better.
Yeah,
he's already selling me on it.
It's gonna be sick.
I think the 224 wings sounds awful.
So when I was working in live sports in Philadelphia, they have the Wing Bowl every year, which is like the big thing. And where the media turns up, so you let the camera people in, it's the front row. And it was like the splash zone. And the the way that these animals are eating wings is, you'll never want to eat a wing again if you go to one of them.
Animals.
Did you have to wear a protective
Just
face
a
guard?
full hazmat suit.
The wings seem like they'd be the hardest to decide if it's eaten or not.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Who's in there looking at the
It is it's a strict judging. There's usually a judge assigned to every eater.
Slugger White. In there.
They're just saying,
That bone's
good,
clean.
Good.
Good. Hey, there's some meat on that one. Some meat on that one. Go. Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
wow.
Yeah, I mean, like hot dogs, fudge, Italian sausage. You know,
70 donuts, Greg. If I eat one, I feel
donuts.
not great. One.
70 glazed donuts. I may never eat another donut again.
How many-
70
that's-
in 8 minutes?
I want a calorie count on some of this stuff.
All right, here's the worst one, I think. So Jeff Esper has the world record for spam from a can. He ate 9.75 pounds of spam in 8 minutes.
That's disgusting.
That's sick.
That makes me want to throw up.
Yeah. So perfect way to end. Anything else? I mean, I can't possibly imagine we have anything else to talk about.
What PGA Tour pro would do the best in an eating contest?
Harry Higgs.
I think somebody like Minwoo would just destroy. Somebody unsuspecting.
Hold on.
Well, this guy you're talking about now, you know, Ludwig, the Ludwig of the eating tours is ripped.
Oh yeah, maybe the answer is just Ludwig.
It's definitely Ludwig. That guy eats all the time.
Oh yeah, great point.
Yeah, he's young. He's got a great metabolism.
Yeah, maybe he's the web of the PGA Tour of golf and eating.
It's probably Scotty Scheffler.
Probably.
I'd be so pissed if he was good at that too. All right, gentlemen. Happy 4th. Be good. Be safe. We will chat soon. John Deere Classic this week. Big thanks, producer Josh, does all the hard work behind the scenes. Patrick McDonald at P McDonald CBS. Greg DuCharme at The Real GFD. Kyle Porter at Kyle Porter CBS. And you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.